know, we are incredibly lucky to be joined by the wonderful Johan, founder and CEO of Business Authorities. Johan has spent his entire career solving problems and fixing businesses. He has a lot of credit to his name. However, some of his more impressive feats include one of his latest businesses that reached 8 figures within 2.5 years, and that he significantly increased the bottom lines of over 1,000 clients in more than 40 industries worldwide. On top of that, he's genuinely a wonderful speaker, teacher, and support for those looking to begin or improve their businesses. Today, he will be discussing the $1 Million Joint Venture, how to leverage other business assets, infrastructure, and customer lists to create a win-win-win situation for all involved. So once again, thank you so much for joining us. Johan, take it away.
Fantastic. Thank you again for having me, Kate. You are amazing. Wendy, you are awesome too. Thank you so much. Let's get into it. Let me just share my screen. Un momento. So guys, welcome. Today I'd like to talk to you about the joint venture success formula. I have built all of my businesses using joint ventures. It's one of the most powerful forces that there is. And it's a bit of a short presentation, but it's going to take you through the step-by-step framework that you can use to exponentially grow your business. So let's go. Whenever I wake up, and actually, before I get to whenever I wake up, every one of us can think about that one deal that changed the entire trajectory of your life, that one deal that moved you into a different stratosphere. And that's happened multiple times. So you're only ever one deal away. And every time I wake up, I think about who can I serve today? Because through services where you actually get, you get what you, what's his name? Jim Rohn said, get other people what they want and you'll get what you want in return. So by having this mindset, joint ventures really, really work very well. So here's my promise. By the end of this presentation, I'm going to take you through exactly how one deal made over $1 million and how you can actually replicate it quite easily. All of my presentations focus on 4 things: how your business can get more leads, how you can get more time, how you can get more profit out of your business, and how you can make more impact. Because at the end of the day, what's the point of having money if you don't give it away? So let's begin. A little bit about me. These are all the people that have, our brains are all just supercomputers, and computers work with data. These are the people whose data has got into my brain, who I've programmed myself with. And so a lot of people say, hey, how come you're always ahead of the curve? It's not because I'm a genius, it's just because I love to read a lot and study. And these are some of the major influences in my life. Now, throughout this presentation, a lot of the strategies that you're going to learn come from this great man. His name is Jay Abraham. He's one of the biggest business strategists, I'd say, in the world. And he was very big in the 80s and 90s. All of the strategies that he thought still you could use today. We got Jim Rohn, we got Dan Kennedy. So a little disclaimer: results are not typical because, hey, I don't know your background. I don't know what data you've been putting in your head. So let's take this as entertainment purposes. And if you can apply what I teach you, I used to be a scientist. I try to make everything that I teach replicatable. So let's go there. Now, I nearly got banned when I showed Wendy this slide, but I wanted to talk about what's a normal business. Normal business is very risky. Why? Because, well, I have 6 businesses myself. We employ more than 100 staff. And there's so many different aspects of a business: having the website, the branding, the funnels, the traffic, all your automation, your sales staff, accounting, tax, client acquisition, social media, marketing, collateral creation, upskilling, hiring your employees, your outsourcers, your project management, delivery, plus there's so many different more. It's all very risky. And most of this is, you have to do this before you even get your first client. Now, with the joint venture, it's much more simple, and we'll get to that in a second. There's only 3 ways to grow any business that exists. And that is, this is from Jay Abraham: increase the number of clients that you have, increase the average transaction value, and increase the frequency of purchase. These 3 simple things. So when we're talking about joint ventures, we always have to think about, hey, if we're going to go create a joint venture here, how can we either increase the number of clients? How can we increase the transaction value? That's where you see the upsells, downsells, that sort of thing. And increase the frequency of purchase. Now, if you look at this table, I've made it a very simple table, but pretending like there's a business that's doing $200,000. by making a 10% increase in the number of clients. So going from 100 clients to 110 clients, it's not that much of a big, if you tell them over a year to get 10 new extra clients, it doesn't take that much. Same thing if you have to increase the percentage of the sale by 10% and then the frequency by 10%. It actually creates a 33% increase. So you've gone from $200,000 into a $266,000. Now I'll skip the others, but let's go down to the bottom. If we make some other small changes, you turn that $200,000 business into a $500,000 business with just some small tweaks, some optimization into their strategies. So joint ventures, how can we leverage it? A normal business that you think about. Now I've got a business, we've just started off a new one to get to $1 million. Well, actually my first business to get to $1 million took us 5 years. It was 5 years of blood, sweat and tears, sacrificed a whole heap. But to get to 5 million, how long does that take? How long does it take to build a company that's 10 million, 20 million and 100 million? Now, one of our companies, we took to 20 million in 4 years. But what is the success rate of a business? As you get towards a 10-year mark, most businesses, 95% of them actually fail. So business is risky. That's what I was going back to. Joint ventures allow you to reduce the risk and make sure that you are a success. They don't take very long to set up. And later I'll show you about that $1 million joint venture, which took only 2 weeks to set up. I want to define what is the difference between a partnership and a joint venture. So when you're in a partnership, there's clear expectations, and generally partnerships fall apart when one person or one company is not working as hard as the other company. So that's where partnerships can fall apart. Whereas in a joint venture, it's when things are convenient. So that's the key. When it's convenient for the other party to do what is said, that's when the joint venture is successful. So I'll give you a couple of examples of joint ventures. When I first started my digital agency back in 2010, one of the things that I did was so it's a digital agency, I went and partnered up with other digital agencies. I said, look, you guys are building websites. We can build websites quicker, cheaper, faster, and that look much better than what you're building. Why don't you turn your sales team, your coding team into your sales team? You have a fixed price and therefore you can make more money, more profit. And we do all the hard work, the heavy lifting. So from that, 10 years ago, we got 36 agencies that send us work all the time. Now that's a great joint venture because when they want to send us work, they send us work and they know how much money they're going to make. So that was one example. One of my business partners, he found a business out in Denmark. This business was turning over 6 million a year when they found it, except it was costing the business 7 million a year to run. So it was going backwards, obviously. So they got the business, they pretty much got the business for next to nothing. And they did a managed buyout. Now, over the next 5 years, they turned that business into a $700 million business from pretty much negative 1 million to 700 million. They then did a deal with the pharmacy group in the UK, and it's a skincare product, which pretty much all of us know. The pharmacy group had a distribution channel of 2,500 pharmacies in the UK. And so what that did was it got their market cap up to 1.2 billion. And that's incredible. And it's all because of joint ventures, right? So another example, a SaaS company, a new SaaS company comes out. And they've been, when I say new, they've been in existence for a couple of years. They've got some great case studies, except their clients were dropping off after about 2 to 3 months. The reason was they didn't know how to use it properly. So what we did was we went and started interviewing. We said, hey, look, we want to interview all your top, the people who are using your software really well. And so they said, yes, here they are. These are the guys with the best results. So we interviewed these guys. We turned them into products, videos, audios, and sketched out different strategies that they used. We turned this into a product, which we then licensed back to this company. And for every person who signs up, they get offered to buy this product. And we get licensing fees for it forever, for as long as it exists. So that's how, and to do that work took us about two weeks to do the deal and 2 more weeks to finish everything off. But now we get paid in perpetuality for doing that work. So that's a great joint venture because they're benefiting. Now their, their lifetime value of their client has gone up to 2 years instead of just 3 months. So those are some examples. So why do they work? Why do joint ventures work? Well, if anybody's doing it, if you're doing a joint venture with somebody, you have to do all the setup, and the work is very attractive for your clients because you're saying, hey, I've got a solution for you. Let me do all the work and you benefit, you get the money, you get the profits, and we split the profits, or something to that effect. They uncover hidden profit centers that the business owner has not thought of. So there's lots of, if you're a business owner, I know that how hard you guys work. Well, you guys, me, I'm 16 hours a day, but we work very hard. But if somebody comes to you and says, hey, look, I see an asset in your company, which it's underutilized. Let me help you leverage it. I will do all of the work. You just have to do a little bit of the work. And in return, you get to keep 90% of the profits. How does that sound? That's a pretty damn good deal. So traditional businesses are very time poor and they're very resource poor. And if you help those business owners capitalize on very little cost for them, very little risk for them, it works out for everybody. Now, joint ventures make the business more profitable and make the owner's life easier. They're a new source of sales that do not take away from the everyday sales. So it doesn't require any major shifts in the whole marketing aspect of it. I'll give you an example. One of our clients, I found out that they're a property developer and realized that they were spending $150,000 a month on marketing. But their marketing was really, really bad. So I did a thing called results and events. So I set up a little Facebook campaign and I got them 16 leads, high quality leads of people who want to buy property in 3 days. It cost me less than $200. When I showed this to them, they just went, oh my God, we pay $800 per lead and you've generated this. And I sent them all the files and I said, look, this is how I've done it. If you want to replicate it, go for it. They were so blown away by that. They were like, wow, we need to get you guys in. Can you help us? And so that created another joint venture with them, which has led to a whole heap of other things. But the point is they weren't even looking. They didn't know how to strategically, tactically market to their ideal clients. So we got them a whole nother revenue stream from a marketplace that they were not activating. And it always has to be a win-win-win situation. Now, the person who wins first is the end user. So the end user always wins. Then the company in the middle, who's the company you're supplying, and then you win last. But if everybody's winning, the deal is a great deal because you have to make sure that all parties are happy. And it's a shortcut for bringing new products or services to the market. And I'll talk to you about that a bit later on. So there's 3 steps. Very, very simple. This is probably the most, if I lost absolutely everything, this is the only thing that I would ever focus on. Step 1, locate a company that has a product or service with a good track record of success and a different company which has a complement that can complement that loyal client base. So one company has a product, one company has a list. So I'll give you an example. This morning, one company called us up. They said, look, we have a database of 500 sports fanatics. How can you help us monetize this list? Because in this current pandemic, we are struggling. So we already have on the books some sporting companies. So we called them up and said, hey, look, we've got a database of 500,000 people who would love your service or your product. Do you want to do a deal? And they said, yes. Now, it doesn't take that long to set up a deal, right? Step 2, we broker the joint venture between them and we bring both the companies together. They both make sizable profits that they would not have without us. So that is the key. And step 3 is just rinse and repeat. Now, we're doing another joint venture in another country where we're releasing a new cashless payment system. It's going out to 300 million people. And we're doing joint ventures with the businesses and some of the banks that want to get this out there to their databases really quickly. So because of the way that joint ventures work, we got them to market much quicker than they would have if they went the traditional way of, doing their marketing, their Facebook and billboard advertising. They wouldn't do TV commercials, all these sorts of things, which is great, which does work. But now we're getting them straight to the people who already want to use their services. Now, this does not work. This is a word of caution. It doesn't work with startups, businesses that are very small mom and pop businesses who are struggling to keep their doors open. Because why does this not work? It's quite simple. if we generated 1,000 leads into your business tomorrow, or into that sort of business, a small business, they probably couldn't cope. They wouldn't have the infrastructure to be able to deal with that influx. So let's just keep it simple. It's a very simple, very powerful formula. We work only with proven products and services that have proven product client lists. And we offer our services to these successful companies that are in the position to take action and capitalize on the opportunity quickly. You need to know that they are motivated, they're hungry, and they want the deal. So why is this important? Well, because once we sign the agreements with them, we know that they have the resources to take swift action. We all profit much sooner than we would if we were just experimenting with the, let's try this marketing tactic, that marketing tactic, etc. When it's a product and a service, and there's a match made in heaven, let's just get it out there quickly. This is a very low-risk strategy for all the parties involved. So what are the possible outcomes when you do a joint venture like this? Well, you identify the companies that are doing a minimum of $2 million annual turnover and who are already marketing. Why? Because if they're at 2 million, they generally have enough infrastructure, enough people, enough systems, enough support to handle these deals. Why is marketing one of the criteria? Because if they're used to spending money, they know their numbers. They know how much their client acquisition costs. So when you go to them and go, hey, I will generate clients for you, and you're currently generating a client for $10, $20, $100, $200, or whatever it is, and we have a better deal, then it makes it much more attractive. So if you wanted to, let's pretend like, you've lost everything, you can't do anything because of this pandemic, and you've had to start from scratch. If you wanted a lifestyle business and you just wanted to work with 10 clients a year, literally, you have no business right now. And so all you're doing is being that person in the middle, right? If you were adding $150,000 of new profit into a client, into a client's business, are they happy to pay you 20% of that? The answer is yes. Most 100% of the time, they're very happy. If I'm going to hand you $150,000, you'll be very happy to give me $30,000 for that. And all you have to do is do 10 of these deals, and you're doing an extra $300,000. And these things do not take very long to set up. So how long will it take you to find 10 companies? Well, most of them are, if you could all see each other, they'd probably be in this room. Or they're all sitting in victory offices. You can do deals amongst each other. So what are the expenses when you're doing a joint venture? Well, what expenses do you have with your current business? Think about all the overheads. Think about all the staff. Think about the superannuation, the HR, all those things. A normal business is very expensive. Trust me, I pay all these people. I know what they are. Whereas JVs, joint ventures, have little out-of-pocket expenses. The clients pay a retainer upfront to get the project started. It's a small retainer which they're paying for their marketing expense anyway. They pay the cost to run the marketing and the campaign for the joint venture. They pay for the cost to manufacture the product or provide the service or to build their customer list. There's no investments in infrastructure, no list building, no producing a product, no delivering, no fulfilling orders, no providing customer support, no paying employees. This is an amazing thing, because the company you're dealing with, that you're joint venturing with, they already have all that taken care of. So none of the usual expenses, and everything is paid for by the clients. So let's talk about control and use versus ownership. For those of you who are on my Facebook, you see me in supercars all the time. And I don't own them, they belong to my friends. Control versus ownership, right? So established companies who have spent millions of dollars, or even a decade, have spent time building these assets and infrastructure in their business. And what they're doing is they're loaning you the use of that asset in order to make them more money that they cannot see, right? And they're paying you for the privilege of using their assets. So control and use versus ownership. Think about that concept. If it was easy, everybody would do it. But remember, everybody is so busy, they don't have time to think. I have the privilege to spend time with a lot of wealthy people, and one of the things that they do is they have time to sit down and think. They give themselves time to strategize, to think about, here's company ABC, how can I help it? ABC, and what linkages can I make between them? I'll tell a quick little story. Again, back to these people. When I meet poor-minded people, so this comes back to mindset, I'll say, hey, what are you working on? What's going on? And they say, I can't tell you right now because you have a tech company, or you have a digital agency or whatever it is, because you might steal my idea. So, okay, fair enough, no problem. Whereas, and I come back a year later, how's it going? What are you working on? Oh, I was about to launch that business, but I haven't done so yet. I'm like, cool, whatever, life happens. Third year, come back and I go, how's it going? They go, well, Uber stole my idea. That was my idea. So that's a poor mentality issue. Whereas a rich person, rich in mindset, they tell everybody all of their ideas. The reason being because they know that somebody they're going to be meeting is going to be able to connect them to the right people. So again, if it was easy, everybody would do it, but most people don't have time to sit down and think. So we have to do smart work. Again, if it was hard work that paid off in this society, the people who are the laborers would be making the most amount of money. Well, in Australia they do, but smart work, that's what we get paid for. So I'll give you an example. One of my companies is called Building Interactive. What we do is we build apps for buildings and for real estate developments. So in this company, when we started off, our sales cycle was very long. Soon, we found great joint venture partners, and we teamed up with the top 5 companies in our industry. As soon as we got the first one on, the second one said, oh my God, you guys are teaming up, let's go. So, and I'm saying teaming up, we just offered each other's services as a complementary service, therefore leveraging each other's assets. Our sales team became their sales team became our sales team, and so we were doubling and tripling the sales that were coming through really quickly. So then we turned our competitors into our allies. And so those joint ventures really paid off because we ended up dominating the marketplace. Another completely different example. So if you go to the App Store, we all have an iPhone or Android. There are so many apps on the app stores. Who builds apps? Generally, yes, the big companies do build apps, but generally there's a lot of artists who love to build apps. This is an example of one of the apps, right? If you look on the under downloads, it says it's got 7 million downloads, but there is 0 monetization of this app. So what one of my other companies is doing, Sherlock Technologies, we are buying up apps that have an amazing database of 7 million people here, and then we will find other. Let's pretend like we've got L'Oreal in St. Kilda. If we went up to L'Oreal, by the way, we're not, but if we did, if we went up to them and said, hey, look, we've got an app, we've got 7 million downloads on this thing, and we're gonna reskin it and make it a L'Oreal app, and we can offer your products and services to these 7 million people, do you think they would want to do a joint venture with us? The answer is most likely yes, right? And if they don't, that's fine. There's plenty of other companies that we could approach with this asset. So this is just another example of the joint venture. We would ask this person, hey, you've built this app, you've made no money from it. How much would you like how much would you like for it? And then we can make sure that we can broker a deal. So again, remember what I said at the start. Who can I serve? When you wake up and you go, how can I help this person make some money? They've got 7 million downloads. This is who I can connect them with. This is another example. I've skipped 2 examples. It's gone to example 5. But I was sitting at an event. Hey, remember those awesome events where we could sit next to each other? I was sitting next to this event, next to this man at an event, and we started talking, and he said he's got a database of 38,000 engaged businesses in Melbourne, right? Amazing. I was like, wow, I hit the jackpot today. So I said, what are you struggling with? He goes, well, one, I want to build a mobile app. I want to build an ecosystem. I want to build all these things, but he didn't have a tech guy. I said, well, that's awesome because I'm a tech guy, right? So I've got a tech company. We will build all the tech for you. And in return, what we would like is we would like the ability to market to the list, but not market like spam them. I'm talking about marketing like adding massive value to the list. Would you be, and he would have to sign off on everything. And they said, yes, he was very happy with that. So now what we have is a powerful distribution network. It doesn't have to be my company's products that I distribute through this network. I could literally go to RACV or any of the insurance companies and say, hey, look, I've got 38,000 businesses, or any of the banks, and say, would you give our business database lower rates? Or would you give them a better deal on their car insurance or their vehicle insurance? So what this allows you to do is it allows you to have buying power. So what happens if we succeed? Once this ecosystem is built, when we launch this thing, one, he gets a great asset because he can grow his business list and service all those people. But then if we succeed with marketing to that list, and generally, remember, I told you, you make very significant profits from doing a joint venture. If we gave him half of the money that we made from doing those mail outs and doing those joint ventures, he would very happily come back. They want more deals. So once we have proven our system, it converts a one-shot opportunity into an ongoing distribution network. So imagine if any of you could reach, if you do B2B, if you could reach out to this database, if you could segregate this down into, hey, there's only 1,000 of those businesses that qualify, that meet my criteria. Can I market to them? Can I offer them a great offer? The answer would be yes. So we can now leverage these results to get more deals. So this is what I call God mode. God mode is when you become a distributor of distribution. This is what we'd like to achieve one day. But imagine how powerful that is. You could literally be doing deals all day, every day. So, ready for that $1 million example? Let me have a quick glass of water. Okay, so in this example, we have a deal maker. The deal maker goes up to a health club, let's call it a gym, and says, hey, I see that you're spending, and in this example, they were spending about $50,000 a month on their marketing. He said, can I have $10,000 of your marketing budget? In return, here is an invoice that I have from the printer, the local printer, who has promised to print me 20,000 units of a $99 membership. And so it's 6 months free, it's worth $99, and it's going to cost me 50 cents. And what I want to do is I'm going to go hand out these leaflets to the right people. And when people come in and they sign up, I want 10% of the recurring revenue that's generated for the next 5 years. Is it a high risk to this business when they're already spending 50,000? No. Is there collateral being created? Yes. And if it gets out to the right hands, great. They're going to start getting some clients. And of course, they did a risk analysis and found out that, well, 10,000 is nothing compared to what they could stand to gain. So the deal maker then goes to the local gym clothing boutiques around all of the gyms and said, hey, look, I know that your average customer spends $150 at your store. If you give them an incentive to spend $200, I want you to give them this voucher, which is worth $99. And when they spend $200, they get $99. It's like they're getting it half price. And so but the voucher is going to cost you $2. So I know this is very simple maths, but stay with me on this. He spent 50 cents a piece. He's now charging $2. He sells all the vouchers to these clothing stores. He has immediately made a profit of $30,000 just in these couple of transactions. So the clothing store, they're getting more clients. Those clients are now spending more than $200 in every transaction. And then from there, the gym is starting to get new clients, which they weren't getting before. The clients are spending more money, the word of mouth is increasing. They were going all crazy all over social media, and they were buying multiple things. So remember, increasing the frequency of purchase as well. So the Happy Health Club now is getting 20,000 leads, potential leads. Of course, not all 20,000 vouchers brought the people in. There was a loss rate there. Some people would have thrown it in the bins, etc. But they didn't have any other expenditure. There's nothing else that's cost them to implement this strategy, right? 6 months later, when this guy goes back to check up on how this promotion worked, the health club had closed 20% of these people at $199 per person. It's a 1-year membership, right? So they got 4,000 new memberships from a $10,000 spend. That works out to be $796,000 profit for the health club. And of course they have their expenses, but with the health club, it's not that much. And the person who did the deal walked away with $80,000 a year ongoing for the next 5 years. But that was one promotion. They did multiple promotions. So this, my friends, is the art of the $1 million deal. It is so simple. I used this example on purpose because the person doesn't have to have their own business. All they're doing is they're finding a great product and finding access to a database of hungry people who want that product. Very simple. So where do you go to find deals? Well, You've got your personal network. At Victory offices, there's plenty of deals to be had. You can find them in magazines, Facebook ads, websites, Google, Amazon, Facebook. There's so many groups. We have a beautiful staffy. Now the staffy, we're ordering some amazing food for the staffy to make sure that they live longer, have less health problems, etc. And now I started seeing on this Facebook group, they've got 20,000 people inside the staffy group. So all I'm going to do is this person who makes this boutique staffy food, going to introduce them to that Facebook group, and we'll get a clip for every thing of food that sells. So there's literally deals everywhere that you can see. Trade shows, current active referrals, niches, dentists, cosmetic surgeons, etc. Here's one. If any of you subscribe to Pitch Rate, if you look at point number 1 there, it says, looking for long-term partnerships with kid-friendly subscription boxes for our YouTube channel. Now, when you click on that, you'll see that they've got something like 40 or 50,000 subscriptions, subscribers. So that's a lot, because what they want to do is they want to market. They're great at creating content for YouTube. What they are looking for is how do they monetize their YouTube, right? So I went to Google and I typed in the 10 best subscription boxes for kids. And here you go, I've got them all. Now these guys are looking for people to serve, the people on the right-hand side or left-hand side, the Pitch Rate. The people with the YouTube channel would love this stuff. Again, it seems very common sense. It seems like, hey, why did they not go to Google and type in the 10 best subscription boxes for kids? But guess what? People are so busy doing what they do that's the reason why they don't do it. So now all you have to do is broker a deal, and there you go. You have another income stream that could be working for you. So business in Melbourne. Most of the business owners in Melbourne are subscribed to businesses in Melbourne. Now, if you look at the bottom right-hand corner, it says free promotion for green businesses. All you have to do is meet that criteria, or find a company that does have a green business, and then do a deal with business in Melbourne to get them to advertise on your behalf and cut a deal with these people. So deals are everywhere as well, what I'm getting to. So check-in time, how are we going? We good, Kate? Wendy? Keep going?
Absolutely, keep going.
Awesome. So quick wins. So joint ventures, they bring in quick cash flow. There's not many moving parts at all. There's high profit to time ratio. It's an essential strategy open to new markets. And man, it is a lot of fun. Now your business brings in consistent cash flow. It grows exponentially with the right strategy. There are more moving parts, but once it's set up, it's autonomous. Most of my businesses run without me. That's why I can do fun stuff like this and educate people, which is what my life's purpose is. Normal businesses are leverageable. They're scalable and they're saleable. And it helps you leave a legacy. So joint ventures, this is my rough Microsoft Paint diagram, but joint ventures are fun. It increases the fun that you have in life because you get to create different strategies. They're fun. It allows you to leave a great legacy because you got more cash flow to leave a greater legacy. And it increases your cash flow into your business because now you get windfalls of cash flow, which you can use to grow your business, which then funds more of your legacy, which then allows you to leave more of an impact, right? So let's begin. That's me. And that's the conversation that we've just had. Thank you for your attendance.
So thank you so much. As I mentioned, please feel free to leave a question in the chat box or in the Q&A box. But in the meantime, Johan, where can we find you if we want to find you?
Yeah, for sure. So you can go to Facebook and type in Business Authorities Community, and that's where I hang out. Or you can Johan at businessauthorities.com or businessauthorities.com. That's all details.
Easy. All right. If you also would like to ask a question, you can also raise your hand. But aside from that, I mean, I guess you just covered everything. You're too good.
Fantastic. Well, guys, you can add me on LinkedIn if you have any questions, if you have any thoughts that pop up when you're having a shower. That's where I have all my great ideas. Feel free to.
Once again, too much of an overshare, Johan. So we did have something was just coming through the chat box then in terms of what was your first JV?
With the other digital agencies.
Okay.
I couldn't be bothered going and finding clients. So I went to where people had clients who were doing a pretty crap job, and I could do a better job. So.
And I have,
What are some of the pitfalls that you foresee when you're working with people or encouraging people to venture in doing a JV? What are some of those things that, because we're all probably kind of going, oh my God, this looks so easy. And then you kind of get going into all the self-doubt and all of that. But what are some of the things that you would say to people just getting started?
Yeah, for sure. Well, I identify the difference between joint ventures and partnerships. When I first started doing deals, I was expecting people to be working as hard as I was. I thought it was a partnership. So I'd be up there, I'd be working till 3, 4 in the morning. I'd call them up, I'd be like, hey, are we ready to go? They're like, oh, you know what? I'm just going to go for a walk, or I'm going to have a coffee. I'll call you later. I'm like, are you serious? Like, wait, I'm trying to launch this. Time is money. So defining whether it's a partnership or whether it's a joint venture, very, very important. That's one of the pitfalls. And that's where, people, there's an imbalance. If somebody's doing all the work and the other person's not doing much, that's where relationships can fall apart.
yeah, definitely. I think Caroline has a question as well. She says, the database list sign off my business owner is not necessarily a sign off by the intended recipient. So that in itself would surely be considered unsolicited emails. It could be taken as spam.
Right.
As such, that could surely be bad.
But, yep, great question. And so what they do is they send them an email saying, hey, look, we're looking to do a partnership with this company who's going to be offering you this. If you're interested, click on this and you will be added to the list. If you don't click on it, we're just going to give you our normal stuff.
Beautiful. Well, once again, thank you so much. I think that's it. Unless, Wendy, did you have any other questions?
No, I've got Johan on speed dial, so I'm good.
Beautiful. Well, if you want to find a recording of this event or any of our other events, please check our V Library out on the Victory Office's website. Otherwise, we will see you online next time for, I think our next event is actually next week. We don't have any others coming up this week. So we'll see you next week for Angela Smith. Once again, thank you so much, Johan. Have a great night, everybody.
See you guys. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.